let's start with why. Why are we having this discussion about automated valuation models? Well, at the very top, there's some wording in there, and I'm going to boil it down to what you see on the slide here. It's about creating credibility and maintaining integrity with the automated valuation models that are being utilized in connection with the credit decisions that you're all making. Now, the what that goes along with it. So we want to make sure that there's credibility and that we can rely on them. So there's integrity behind them, these automated valuation models that aren't necessarily full-blown appraisals. So the what, okay, what it comes down to is this. Okay, you're going to be required to implement quality control standards. Now, I want to back up for a moment. I should have done this right out of the gate. One of the big differences between the automated valuation model discussion that we're having here first and the reconsiderations of value discussion that we'll have here about halfway through this session is that the automated valuation model is a final rule, okay, law, regulation, if you will. The request or the reconsideration of value, that's a guidance thing, and we're going to split some hairs when we get there too, but this one is regulatory. Hey, this is one you're required to comply with. Now, with respect to how they wrote this, each regulatory agency, okay, FDIC, OCC, Federal Reserve, et cetera, they all kind of put their own version together, but it's the same version. The OCC matches up with the FDIC, the Federal Reserve, the NCUA, et cetera. Doesn't matter who you're regulated by, your regulator's version of how this shakes out in the AVM world is the same. Now you can see we've got FDIC citations here. That's the 300s, 323 section. But if you were to go look at the the Federal Reserves or the NCUAs, it would be a different number, but the same wording is what you will find. What's going to be different is there's also a CFPB version. Well, that one is different. The CFPB's version, they actually decided to put it in truth in lending. And this is where it gets kind of weird. Truth in lending has long been about consumer lending, right? Well, you're going to find out here in just a bit that this AVM rule applies to both consumer and commercial loans alike. So it's a little bit compliance, a lot more safety and soundness, but it does now include an exception in truth in lending for AVMs to apply beyond just consumer purpose transactions that are personal, family, or household purpose. So a little odd how they went about this. Okay, but it is a rule, a law, a regulation. In other words, you are required to comply with it as opposed to it just being guidance. Now, back to the slide on the screen, quality control standards. I'm going to show you what those are a little bit later on, but that's what the end result is you have to implement what they refer to as quality controls. More on that in a bit. So what is an automated valuation model? Well, they've given us a definition in the regulation. It's actually alluded to in both your regulatory agency's version as well as the CFPB's version that's slightly different. And in addition to what it says here is it's any computerized model used to determine the value of a consumer's principal dwelling. Now, in just a little bit, I'll talk to you more about what specifically this rule targets, but here you're getting kind of a taste that it is targeted with those automated valuation models that are computerized, but solely attributed to something that is a value of the consumer's principal dwelling. We go to the next item, bottom of page number 1. We have the effective date associated with this. It's October 1 of 2025. So we're not quite there yet. Hey, you've got a year, 12 months to get ready for this. So that's the ramp up.